All right, Jesse on Fire, welcome back to the channel. So, big day yesterday. Lots going on. The Cain Velasquez thing, the video that I did where I said, some rumored information about what happened. Turns out that that's exactly what happened. Anyway, I don't know if I should do another video about that. We're going to talk about Nate Diaz in this particular video, though, because Nate Diaz has made some statements that need talking about. And if I know myself, if I know my future self, I'm probably going to title this video something like, "What the hell is Nate Diaz talking about?" or something like that, right? And so that means that early in the video, I need to make very clear that Nate Diaz will never fight and have me not rooting for him, okay? My daughter learned how to be a jiu-jitsu killer at Cesar Gracie's gym, okay? I have loyalty to that clan that is full. I love Nate Diaz. I love Nick Diaz. I love Cesar Gracie. I love anybody even affiliated with those guys a little bit. But he's talking nonsense. He's talking nonsense. And I think it's important. Like, here's the thing. I think that maybe he's not thinking about this clearly in the things that he said in this one category. And that's what I'm going to talk about right now. Okay. So if you like the content, subscribe and ring the bell. Tell every single person you know who likes MMA that you done found the best MMA channel in the world. And it's the Weasel. Just kidding. Anyway, so here's the deal. So Nate Diaz, who is always like, basically if Nate Diaz, someone was just telling me yesterday, right? Like they were like, dude, you need to kick your game up on other social media. You're crushing it on YouTube. You're blowing it everywhere else. That's a fact. Because I don't care about, like, this is where I want to be. I want to be on YouTube. I want to be talking long form into the camera. Twitter, it's like, hey, Jesse, share your thoughts in 3 sentences. I'm like, dude, I can't even introduce a video in 3 sentences. I can't tell you what I think about something in 3 sentences. That's not possible. My brain don't work like that, son. And Instagram, I feel the same way. Instagram, you're making me condense my thoughts too much. But I am knowingly neglecting it. The reason that I bring that up is because it seems like Nate is all over Twitter, son. Like he's probably just doing other stuff. He's like, the kind of guy who's a black belt by the time they're like 12 or whatever, I mean, not 12, obviously, but like by the time they're like a late teenager, it means he's a dude who does things, right? He doesn't have time to sit around and watch 5-hour YouTube videos, right? So he's getting he finds out what's going on. This is at least my read on his behavior on social media. Is like he's a guy who sees something on Twitter and he responds to it. Like that's it. He's training. He's doing marathons. He's doing decathlons. He's doing all this shit. And then he's like, you know what I have time for? I have time to go on Twitter and see what people's thoughts are in 3 sentences. And then boom, I'll respond. And so anyway, I mean, like that's my read on Nate Diaz's interaction with the community. I don't think he's watching a lot of videos. I think he's checking out Twitter, maybe Instagram. And so he gives these like kind of quick responses to everything, but then every time he talks, it blows up because he's a massive star. But in this case, he's talking nonsense, and hopefully here's the other thing. You have no idea what Nate's thinking. I think Nate's smarter than everybody thinks he is. Like I think Nate knows a lot more of what he's doing strategically than he pretends. Like he kind of is just like, yeah, he's got the whole like, I couldn't give 2 fucks thing down pat. And he probably doesn't actually give 2 fucks most of the time. But other times I think he's being strategic. So it's possible that what he's saying here is just strategic. And I'm talking about what he said about the Conor McGregor fight, right? So basically, Dana is talking about Nate. He's talking about Dustin. And he says that fight is close to getting made. And then someone asks him about the Conor McGregor fight. And Dana's like, yeah, I would be shocked if we didn't do that fight in the future. Or something like that. Something along the lines of, yeah, you're going to see the 3rd fight. Of course. I mean, like you got some things to navigate, but that fight almost certainly will happen. And Nate responded with, Conor better get a couple wins to show he's not soft. Something like that. Basically, what he said was, Conor better get a couple wins to prove that he's worthy of fighting me. And I'm like, what? Like, is he serious? Is that a serious comment? I mean, because here's the thing, like, again, Very possible that he's just big leaguing him. He's like, psh, doesn't like, just like him. It's just totally possible. I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt, just like in this hypothetical. Just like when they were like, you know, Nate and Dustin are fighting, and then they were like, also on the card, Conor and Khabib, and he got up and just stormed out of the press conference. It's possible he's just like, hey, we're talking about me and Dustin right now. How about you don't talk about Conor? He's not good enough to be in this conversation. It's possible that's what he's doing. Possible. But if that's not what he's doing, let me set him straight in the most respectful way that I can, because I'm always rooting for him. Okay? I'm rooting for him and everybody on his team. But let me just set this straight super quick. Okay? That's not your career path anymore. You are a superstar. You are after money fights. Okay? If you think different, I don't know what movie you're watching, dude. Like you're a cash register. You pick fights that are going to be blockbuster fights that you can make a shitload of money on, that you can headline shows with without a belt. How many guys can headline shows if they don't have a belt? Like 3? Conor, Masvidal, Nate Diaz. You know, maybe John Jones if he's fighting at heavyweight or something. You're in this tiny little group, dude. Like, you're not chasing the belt. You think you can beat Kamaru Usman? I mean, I'm not trying to be a dick, but like, I don't think you like that fight. I will say this. Let me say one thing about that, actually. So I'm going to do another video after this, and I'm going to talk about Gilbert Burns and Gilbert Burns and Khamzat Chimaev, which is apparently now on 273, and Islam Makhachev and Charles Oliveira. Those two matchups. Because Steve Hargett, pound for pound, #1 in the world in, actually, is he my age group? Yeah, I think in my age group. Jiu-jitsu fighter, #1 in the world. And he broke down those fights for me. And he had very, very interesting thoughts about both fights in terms of who he thinks. He had identical reads on the two fights. Identical. And I'm going to do a video about that. But he was talking about what type of jiu-jitsu fighters some of these guys are. And he said he thinks that Nate has the nastiest guard off of his back, probably in the UFC. But nonetheless, you don't want to be on your back in a sport where people can smash your face in. So, you know, Kamaru is not a good matchup. But Nate's durable. Anyway, whatever. The point being is you're after money fights. There is no bigger money fight than Conor. None. There is no bigger. Like, Conor has $1 billion or whatever. Or 300 million, whatever. He has enough money that at any point he could go, I'm going to do something else. I think it's unlikely. I think he loves fighting. I think he loves being in the mix. I think he's going to keep fighting. But you don't know that. Also, you are not a spring chicken anymore either. Okay, the phase of you, if I'm your manager, this is the conversation I'm having with you. I'm going, look, dude, this is a zero-sum game. Everyone in the UFC would do anything to be you. Okay, literally, there are almost no exceptions to that. Like, basically, there are maybe 5 to 6 people in the UFC that would not be like, absolutely, I will trade my career right now to be Nate Diaz. But what you're doing right now is you're maximizing value on the remaining fights that you have. Okay? Which means that you get the most out of each fight. To not want the Conor fight is insanity. That just means you don't understand your career. You don't understand where you're at, dude. Because like Dustin, that's a great fight. Dustin is a superstar now. I personally saw that firsthand. I saw Chael talk about that, but I saw this also at 271. They put a lot of people up on the Jumbotron. No one got a response like Dustin Poirier. They put Dustin up there. The place went fucking bananas, dude. Now, what do Dustin and Nate have in common? You beat the shit out of Conor McGregor, you get real popular, dude. Especially if you're a genuine guy, like both of those guys are. People just love authentic people. I really think that that's like the primary draw to my channel. You know, it's like of all, you know, like of all. Oh, shit. Oh, I got to wrap this video up because I have actual work. But check it out. Of all people who are, I actually lost my train of thought. I literally, I was just going to say, of all the people who have a YouTube channel, I probably have the least, direct, well, that's not true. Maybe just of the people I think I'm competing with. Like I think of my competition as like Chael, DC, and Bisping, and the only reason for that is because I'm crazy, and that's just the way my brain is wired. I don't even know what my point is because this is a really important thing that I have to respond to. I love you guys. Love you. Nate Diaz, you're the fucking man. If you don't fight Conor, you're out of your goddamn mind. You'll make a fortune.